What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, and we just had the last leader of OP12 be revealed to us. It is Wiz Koala, black and yellow. So it's a black and yellow koala is the last leader. We've been getting reveals for black Revolutionary Army cards, and now it all is going to make sense. So let's go ahead and dive in. In today's video, we're going to talk about the leader, the cards that have been revealed so far, and then we'll talk about existing support and then my overall thoughts. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vampyr Gaming. I make content for everyday One Piece players to help you elevate your game and just overall everyday One Piece content. So if that interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. And then we'll go ahead and jump into it. So the Koala Leader is a 4 life, 5,000 power leader. Does have the Rosa type. So we have Revolutionary Army and she has Rosa, which is wildly out of pocket considering that Sabo never got that, but it is what it is. But so let's pay attention to what this leader does. This leader is incredible just on paper. When this leader attacks your opponent's leader, if you have 2 or more 8 cost or greater characters in play, draw 1 card. So this leader has value plays built in. So even though it's a 4 life leader, it can still generate value. And your characters that have been revealed so far actually boost their costs. So those boosting that cost allow you to meet this requirement earlier, and in doing so allows you to generate value sooner. And then, once per turn, when your opponent plays a character with an original cost of 8 or greater, so any 8 cost or higher, original, so like when you play mirrors, those cost buffing ones aren't going to count, and then when Usopp plays Kurasu, is not going to count. Or when your opponent plays a character through a character's effect. So this counts for Rebecca. This counts for the other Rebecca. This counts for the band Gecko Moria. This counts for Tony Choppers. Anything like that, you may activate this ability. Your opponent adds the top card of their life to their hand. Your opponent adds the top card of their life to their hand. So you're peeling out their life and punishing them for making plays. It's once per turn, so you better go you can save them and just play them all at once and use them all. And then just take that one. So it's incredibly interesting because it punishes like late game plays. And, of course, Blue Purple Luffy, 3 life. It's going to punish you. Take that life, right? Like, this is incredibly interesting. Apparently, if you play 10 teach, you still have to take the life, even though you negate the leader. Somebody feel free. I'm not a judge, so somebody let me know if that's incorrect in the comments below. But apparently, it'll punish that. So it punishes teach, even though he's no longer a problem. Gerpel, first thing that comes to my mind is Gerpel Luffy just becomes infinity better because they're not playing cards off of others. They cut the Luffy Taro engine, and then they just playing Sanji Puddings and Zoro Joros and EBO 2s, and they all fall under 8. So it creates an environment for Gerpel to thrive once again and punish Blue Purple. So that's just like surface level. But it's got a value play, and then it punishes your opponent for making power plays, in essence. Which is really interesting, too, because this deck actually punishes Bello Betty. When you think about it, because Bello Betty will play the Ivankov and play out something else, and this just punishes that, which is fascinating. So I already have a couple ideas in my head for this, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other cards. So we've got Kurasu. So this card is actually insane as well. It's a 5 cost, 6,000 power. If you have a Revolutionary Army type leader, this character's cost is increased by 3. So it essentially makes itself an 8. And it seems like every new card that's coming out is going to make itself an 8. And then when attacking, if you have a Revolutionary Army type leader and your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent must discard 1 card from their hand. So your leader enables them to end up taking a bigger hand. And then in doing so, you can punish them with Kurasu. Kurasu's hard to move because he counts as an 8. So they have to have power removal, so only red can really remove this efficiently, especially with Ice Age gone. And then you can't hit it with a Jozu. You can't hit it with a number of cards. You can't hit it with a Lin Lin. So it's so many different things you can't do to remove this card. and then you get to just peel those cards. So this in tangent with the leader, in my just initial thoughts, is incredibly powerful. Kurasu, every card that they've made of Kurasu has been oppressive in terms of what he does, as long as he can stick it. This one feels just a little bit more sticky than 4-drop 5k Kurasu. So shout out him, but I think that this card is going to be an absolute MVP and just like really start to get people upset. Because having to just get rid of one card, you swing, then you have to get rid of a card. It's like Perona, but arguably worse. And again, it's going to allow you to meet your leader's requirements. And then we have Moly. So Moly is just a 2k, but when you play Moly, Moly becomes an 8 cost. So Moly just is another card. There's only been 2 revealed so far, and they already work really well together, and there's a ton of existing support. Black and yellow are like the most loved colors by Bandai, and so they already have incredibly powerful engines just there in itself. But we're going to talk about some of those existing cards and how they might be utilized, because I've got ideas cooking. But yeah, so this one just costs +4. And then, yeah, existing support, so you, of course, have kind of like the good cards. The Revolutionary Army, there's a whole, in OP10, OP09, yeah, OP09, we just got a whole set of yellow for Bello Betty. You get Koala, which you take a life, and then you get to play a Revo Army card, and then you get to draw a card. This card may not be the move, solely because mirrors, you're going to get punished for playing another card. And then you're going to put cards in your hand, which opens you up to Kurasu. But it is one of the better Revolutionary Army cards because she's going to replace herself. And you got Kurasu, so this is just a trigger. And if you and your opponent have a total of 5 or less life cards, you play this card. So you can trigger this, play it. You have an ability that's going to make your opponent take their life cards. So this is going to make this a lot easier to go live. And this blocker comes up a lot. It's a swinger, and it's going to be able to block something in pinches when it comes out of your life. And then you have Sabo. So this is actually one of the better cards, in my opinion, just because this card kind of gives you like a value play in the fact that you can swap out like and put one of these triggers in your life. So on play, add up to 1 Revolutionary Army type card from your hand to the top of your life. Face up, then if you have 2 or more life cards, add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. So yeah, you get to add from your hand to the life. Then if you have 2 or more, you get to take a card from your life. Then you have a trigger. If your leader is multicolored, you just draw 2 cards. So trigger comes up, he's a 7, so he falls underneath that 8. So he's going to be good in the mirror. And then, yeah, you just get to stack one of those triggers which can come up. And then, so let's talk about the Dressrosa aspect. So she has the Dressrosa type, and they didn't do that for no reason, because let me tell you, they didn't put it on Sabo, and I can't even tell you what scene Koala was in Dressrosa. So, you do have the Dressrosa Sabos, which also have one has the Revolutionary Army. This one is the Dressrosa Sabo. So you have the Dressrosa Sabo, and you have the Corrida Coliseum. But you can play this Coliseum, which allows you to just completely play the Dressrosa engine, because then all your Dressrosa characters have Pseudo Rush, and you can play like cards like 7-drop Luffy. But we're not going to cover every single card, just because there are so many. I just wanted to touch on like these key ones that kind of make sense. But Corrida could be, we're mentioning it here, because it could be a thing. Because this card, 1, does exist, and then 2, your leader has Dressrosa, and I feel like that's not for no reason. So we might be getting another Dressrosa Sabo, but then we, of course, have the iconic 5/6 Sabo, draw 2, trash 2, and he protects your characters. So this card could be relevant in this leader, especially if we're playing Corrida. And, of course, you have this 8-drop Sabo, which works perfectly with your ability. You want 2 8-drop characters. Not as good in the mirror, but if the deck already kind of forces opponents to play lower-cost characters in a meta, so then you could possibly get incredibly rewarded by playing this, carrying a 5 and a 3. Plus the potential for any kind of reduction, anything like that, could really just go a long way. And then other support just top of mind. So our leader has the ability to burn. Well, it's not really burn because they're going to add it to their hand, but essentially make them lose life. And then we can partner that with other characters that can really suit that well. So first off, you have Nico Robin. If your opponent has 3 or more life, trash one. So you can trash one, and they're already behind. So if you get them, you swing 5, and they go to 4, and you play this. Now they're at 3, and then anytime they want to make a big play, they're going to go down to 2. And then you can partner that with Eustace Captain Kid, and you can use Kid and trash another life. And then you also are meeting your 8 cost requirement. So this card fits perfectly in there and can really punish your opponent. So Eustace Captain Kid is one of the first cards that comes to mind that I think can be incredibly powerful. Same with Nico Robin. And then we, of course, are going to mention Katakuri. Katakuri is the best form of removal in the game. So it's an 8 for an 8. This card could be relevant. It, of course, allows you to meet your 8 cost requirement as well. And then it allows you to potentially move big bodies. You do have to put them into their life. And then you can either, of course, choose to make it add back to their hand if they want to make like a play. Or you, of course, do what everybody does and tuck it in the bottom of their life, especially if it's a brick. So, yeah, I think that these are like the top of mind cards. There, of course, are a lot more, but overall thoughts, I think this leader is incredibly powerful on paper. There have been a couple of times where we've thought this and then we've just been wrong. Again, top of mind, green, purple, Gurple, Luffy does not play anything that would play into this unless they're playing the Luffy Taro build, which has really found its way out of the meta after just initial thoughts. So with that, I think that deck is just going to be infinity more powerful than Koala, and Koala could just open the gates for that. I think Koala, again, on paper, incredibly powerful leader, but I do think, things like Green, Purple, Luffy, their biggest drop is going to be a 6. It's going to be able to excel, and they're not using cards to play multiple. They're using their lit ability to be able to play multiple cards. Let me know in the comments below, are you a Wiz Koala main, and what do you think about this leader?